Well, here we go again. We're about to get clobbered by another good cell here. We've not moved much since the last one. That last cell went by. The wind died. Well, we had a little wind for a little while, and then it died. And I've got a cell over that way and a cell, oh, look at that, a cell right back here. And this one right here is going to go right over the top of us. So this is about to get interesting. This is about to get interesting. And clearly it's dark, so that makes it even more exciting. Stand by. It's just before 1 in the morning. This is a tricky night. We've been everything from becalmed to now being close hauled in a 23 knot blow and heeling well within the last 2 hours. This has been a lot of fun. So the forecast says that this is gonna blow like this for about 2 hours, 2.5 hours. And then the wind's gonna veer again and put us on a broad reach. And then it's supposed to kind of settle in and sit there for a while. Hopefully all day tomorrow, and it'll push us right on into Sandy Hook. We'll see what we get. But for a night where you want to try to get a nap in every once in a while, it's not happening tonight. Maybe it will right now, if this holds for a little while. It is 7:40 on the 16th of April, 2024, Tuesday morning. Last night was sporting. I had that rail buried a couple of times, but she did well. Easy to steer, just kept right on getting it. So, of course, now I know how poor a job I did at stowing for sea, but that's all part of it. So this morning, about 3-ish this morning, the wind started to calm a little bit and things eased up, so I was able to get a little bit of sleep last night, just a couple of naps in. And then this morning the sun rose, and as the sun was peeking its eyes over the horizon, the wind stopped. So we fiddled with that for a good little while, and here about 20 minutes, half hour ago, it finally came steady again out of the same point that it was at all night last night, but at a more comfortable rate. So now I have a dilemma. If I was to tack right now, and I tried it just a little while ago, I basically just head straight west. This is the only thing I can hold. A little north of west, but not much. And head straight back towards New Jersey. The course I'm steering right now has me pointed straight at Montauk, which is appealing. So the last forecast I saw yesterday, and I haven't been able to get one today because the only thing I could pick up on the VHF is for Delaware, and I'm too far offshore to be able to pick up anything off the internet. So the last forecast I saw yesterday said that at some point this morning the winds are going to come more southerly, which means that it'll push me straight to Sandy Hook. And tomorrow sometimes the wind is supposed to come straight out of the east, which was why I was going to stop at Sandy Hook and just kind of chill out. And when the winds shifted again, then I would get underway to Montauk. But it's 130 miles from where I'm at right now to Montauk. And if the wind comes out of the south, well, it'll push me to Montauk as well as it'll push me to Sandy Hook. So the question is, can I get to Montauk before that strong east wind comes, and skip Sandy Hook altogether. So that decision will be made here in just a little while, I'm sure, when the wind starts to veer and do its thing. But for now, I'm right at the beginning of the approaches to New York City, so I've got to keep a good eye out for traffic, keep the AIS tuned on and working good. And at some point, I've got to get a nap. I'm drinking coffee, but I need a nap. And at some point today, I need to pick up this boat where things have been thrown all over the place. Anyway, we'll let you know where we end up. But for right now, we're making good way. 3.5 knots in a direct line to Montauk. We'll see if we stay with that or not. Well, it's 9:40, and I have decided to push on to Montauk. We are just under 140 miles from the buoy at Montauk. So that should put me there, if the winds hold, that should put me there tomorrow afternoon, hopefully before sunset, tomorrow evening. We'll see. We'll see what the winds do. They will do what they want to, after all. But we're going to head on to Montauk. Depending on when we get there, we may stop at Block Island just to take a rest, or we'll push on over to Buzzards Bay and the Cape Cod Canal. And wouldn't it be cool if we were to push on the Cape Cod Canal and catch the tide right and just keep right on going through the canal and into Massachusetts Bay? Wouldn't that be kind of cool, huh? No particular plan. We'll see where we go. But for now, we are no longer headed for Sandy Hook. We are headed for Montauk Point on Long Island. 3:25 in the afternoon. This has been a day, oh, my tea is ready. This has been a day of boxing the compass, I tell you. Oh, I seriously considered changing the destination to Montauk and just heading that way. But then the wind died completely. Fortunately, it didn't die before I was able to get in range of a New York weather broadcast on the VHF. It was very scratchy, but listening to it about 12 times, I was able to discern what it was saying. So I decided, well, maybe the Montauk thing's not the best way after all, which that was fine. I was just boxing the compass anyway. So we are going to go to Atlantic Highlands. Well, not necessarily to there, but to Sandy Hook anyway. There has been absolutely no movement for the last, I don't know, couple of 3 hours anyway. So I even got the spinnaker out and played with it some more. And all I ended up doing with it was getting it all tied up in a knot. So it's going to take me forever to get that thing all put back together right. I'm not going to touch it again until Maine. And I may play with it, I may not. I may just say, a free-flying spinnaker or a spinnaker on a pole is not a good idea for a single-hander in this kind of boat. Or at least for this single-hander in this kind of a boat. When I call to place the order for my sail kits, I may get a code 0 or something like that, an asymmetrical on a furler. So it'll be easier for a single-handed sailor to be able to fly the thing. Either this one's too big or I just don't know what I'm doing. Either could be the case. I don't have a lot of experience with spinnakers. But anyway, it's in a bag now, restowed and soaking wet, and it'll probably stay there until I get to Maine and can pull it out and decide what I'm going to do with it. But anyway, finally I was able to feel a little breeze while I was out on deck. And so, comparing notes with the forecast that I had copied down, I pulled the jib out on a port tack, and we were slowly starting to make some way. But the main kept interfering with it, so I pulled the main down. I don't have a preventer set up yet for the main, and don't really know how I'm going to do it with the way this thing's put together. I'll come up with something. I just haven't given it much thought to be able to go wing and wing. And right now, all the main does is flog back and forth and drive me nuts anyway with that great big heavy Bermuda 40 mainsail on it. So anyway, I pulled it down so it's no longer blocking the jib, and now the jib is pulling us along at 2.6 knots in air so light you can barely feel them. So we'll take that. I'm sure some of that's the tide. But we are moving along, not directly to Sandy Hook, but not back at Atlantic City either. We are making progress. The forecast says that later on the winds are going to build 5 to 10 knots out of the southwest, becoming west, and then becoming north after midnight, which doesn't do me a bit of good. Tomorrow, they're supposed to be out of the southeast 10 to 15 for a little while, and then coming east 15 to 20. So with that, I ought to be able to make it in. Tomorrow night it's supposed to start raining, which will give the boat a good wash. All I care about is getting in and behind the sandbar at Sandy Hook before the winds do the 25 to 30 that they're talking about. 20 to 25, gust to 30. That's what they're saying. So I'd like to be anchored up for that, and then we'll wait until the winds start coming out of some other direction other than the east and do the outside of Long Island. But for now, I feel, now it's saying we're not moving again. Back up to 2. Okay. This has been one of those days. I wish I had a book to read. I guess I could have read one of the manuals for this, the electronics on this boat. I wish I had my Patrick Aubrey books, or Patrick O'Brien books, rather, the Aubrey Maturin series, Patrick O'Brien, because then that would give me something to do. But I've just been sitting around waiting for things to happen here. At least it's not real rolly. And do I feel like I'm rambling? It's because it's been very quiet all day. Anyway, my tea's ready. More later. And now it's 5 minutes past 7 o'clock. After a day of the winds playing their silly little games, with a couple of hours of being absolutely becalmed, I've got a good wind. And we're making our course directly to the channel at Sandy Hook. If our speed stays as it is, and if we can maintain that course, and I'm touching my wooden tiller right now, I'll be there just past sunrise tomorrow morning. And we'll miss the rain and so forth that's supposed to be here tomorrow night. I'll be able to get in and get anchored up before the strong easterlies start coming in. Forecast is 20-25 knot winds straight out of the east, starting tomorrow night and Thursday, which isn't that bad compared to what I was just sitting in over at Cape Henlopen. but not something I want to be beating into, heading east along Long Island, the southern shore of Long Island. So it'll be good. We'll get in. Hopefully, like I say, fairly early in the morning. I can get cleaned up and get secured. The winds right now are out of the southwest, but they're saying they're supposed to be out of the north late. So how they're going to get from southwest to north, whether it'll be right now or whether it will slowly move its way around, we will see. And then tomorrow they're supposed to be out of the southeast. So are they going to work their way around or whatnot? We will see. The wind will do what it wants to do. So, but we're under our main and our jib right now on a broad reach, headed for Sandy Hook, New Jersey. And it's another wonderful sunset. Not as exciting as last night's sunset, but still a nice sunset. It's been a very nice day today out in the Atlantic Ocean. Good morning. It's Wednesday, April 17th, 6:24 in the morning. The sun has come up. It's a bit of a hazy day out here right now. Humidity is like 85%, something like that. It's a little on the chilly side. It's 51 or 52 degrees. I've just made my coffee and coming out. We're about 15 miles from the channel entrance to get into the little anchorage behind Sandy Hook there at the Coast Guard station. Last night about 3 o'clock this morning, the wind died. Fortunately, it blew long enough to get me through the traffic separation scheme going into New York City. And since then, well, I pulled the main down so that it wouldn't flog, and I have the jib poled out. But since then, we've not been going fast enough to register on the GPS as having speed, but we have been moving. And I know that because we have steerage way, and I keep getting closer to Sandy Hook. So since, like I say, about 3 o'clock this morning, 4 o'clock this morning, we've moved 2 miles towards Sandy Hook. So there you go. We're moving in the right direction, which is always a plus. The forecast for this morning is for the winds to slowly gather. They'll come out of the southeast initially and then become east at about 10 miles an hour, or 10 knots. So this cup of coffee, maybe another one. I'm starting to see just a few ripples right now, and I think we may be starting to move a little quicker. The swell is picking up. We'll have wind in no time. And if we've got 15 miles to go, then that means, or 14 miles to go. Well, if I can get 5 knots going here, that'll be 3 hours from now. But I don't anticipate getting 5 knots going, at least not for a while. So as long as we're in before the rain starts this afternoon at 2 or 3 o'clock, that'll be fine. It is supposed to rain this afternoon. It is supposed to rain tomorrow all day, and the winds are supposed to pick up to about 20, 25 out of the east. The forecast I looked at just a little while ago on the Windy app shows the winds being pretty foul until Saturday afternoon. So I'll spend 3 or 4 days here anchored up, as was the original plan, and then get underway. What would be really cool, if anybody's listening, what would be really cool is to get underway, hit the canal at Cape Cod just right to just get right in it and go, not have to wait for a tide, and on the other side just keep right on sailing. I don't anticipate that happening, but it would be really cool if it did. But it's a nice quiet morning. I'm hearing a lot of road noise over New Jersey's over that way, by not too far. So I am hearing a little road noise over there. It looks like there's a fishing boat up ahead of us here. It was funny watching the AIS all morning as all the big ships would be coming straight at me, and then you could tell when they realized, oh, it's a sailboat that's not moving, and they would instantly change their course. The technology that we have available to mariners this day and age is really cool. Anyway, sooner or later here, I'm going to have to jibe the jib, because right now I have it on a port tack, and when the winds really start coming out of the east, I'm going to want it on a starboard tack. So I'm going to have to pull the pole and move that over, and think about pulling the main again when the wind starts coming, so we can sail on down to Sandy Hook. It's another beautiful day on Skookum Lady. Right over here in the lee of the sandbar. Sorry about the camera work here. We're going to anchor up in the lee of the sandbar. For the next 2 days we'll have a strong easterly wind. And it's looking like right now Friday, this is Wednesday, so Friday morning we may be able to get out of here and start continuing our way east. Friday or Saturday. Well, it's 2:45 and we are anchored in the lee of Sandy Hook. I didn't go all the way into Atlantic Highlands because the anchorage in Atlantic Highlands, when the winds are out of the east, the way they're supposed to be coming with this storm for the next day or two, that's when you get your biggest rolls. You've got the biggest amount of fetch. So it's not a real comfortable anchorage when you have a strong blow out of the east. Coming around Sandy Hook into the little bay here, it was sporting. It was really starting to roll up out there. And we've got, I don't know, 15, 20 mile an hour winds. But right here, as you can tell, it's just as calm and peaceful as it can be. Tonight's not supposed to be too bad. It's supposed to start raining here in about an hour, and then it's supposed to rain until day after tomorrow, I guess. Tomorrow it's supposed to gust up to 30, 35, something like that. And I anticipate it being pretty much what we're doing right now, except for a lot wetter, and the boat could use a good rinse down right now. throughout the whole endeavor. I rode out a 45 knot gale here back in 2009. It must have been October of 2009 on my last sloop, Serenity. And it was the first big gale I have ever ridden out. And I came out of Atlantic Highlands over to this point at the recommendation of one of the people on the dock in Atlantic Highlands. And I was glad I did, because it was absolutely beautiful. It was blowing out that day. And had a little propane fireplace on Serenity, and I was sitting there with my feet up with the little flicker of the flames in the propane fireplace, and had a good little time with it. Also, if I just stay here, well, it's half the distance that I don't have to go around Sandy Hook to get out of here and continue my way to the other side of Long Island. So, another passage complete in this voyage, and I'm tired and feeling good, feeling pretty good. Skookum Lady is proving herself to be a pretty good boat. We just got to get her issues where she's been neglected for so long. We just got to get those issues taken care of, and we'll get the biggest part of those done in Maine when we get up to Bangor here in hopefully a week or two. Hopefully it's not much more than that. But that's it for now, and I keep rambling, but now we're going to shut it off. See you next time.